Hi, my name is Ingrid Anna and welcome to the Divine Femme Money Show. This is the juiciest conversation for women about money, power, sensuality, relationships and business. A few months back, a poor decision cost me over $250,000. To say I was stressed out and exhausted and overwhelmed and over it is an absolute understatement. And the only way I knew how to get out of it was to ensure that I implement the exact strategies I teach my clients and students. And guess what? It worked. In this episode, you'll find out what it took for me to turn a $200K loss and complete devastation into $600,000 within about 5 weeks. So I can't wait to share this with you because the truth is sometimes the shit just does hit the fan. And as a woman on a mission, you got to know how to get out of that shit and turn it into gold. So with no further ado, let's get this show on the road. You can find the Divine Femme Money Show at your favorite podcast provider and at ingridanna.com/show. Hey, gorgeous, beautiful women. Welcome. If you don't know who I am, I'm Ingrid Anna. And I'm sending you a big, juicy, energetic love hug. Ruin to riches, I can't say it properly. Ruin to riches is really all about ensuring that we take any feeling of destruction, pain, loss, and we want to turn it into absolute, sacred, holy, divine abundance. You may have heard me say time and time again, let's take your pain and make it rain. And so we're going to go through a divine process today to really ensure that you get the gold out of any sense of anguish that you've experienced in life. And I'm going to share a few stories about my journey. But I think in life, it's really it's not being a human being, having this human experience. It's really just part of the journey to sometimes fail and then recalibrate, learn, grow, pick ourselves up and move forward. It's a cycle. Obviously, you can continue to have expansion, but usually with every expansion will come some sort of struggle. So I wanted to be really real with you guys. I really wanted to talk about some of the struggles and things that I've gone through, how I've overcome them, and today we'll be going deep into that. For those of you who don't know really what I do and what we do here at Ingrid Anna, we are deeply passionate and masterful and basically turned on and lit up about empowering women to really truly own their brilliance, come into their sense of personal power, to then lead into financial power and financial sovereignty. And we do that through teaching women how to package up and sell high-end offers. Selling high-end offers in the world of Ingrid Anna isn't about slapping a huge price tag onto a lame offer. It's about packaging up your most sacred work and really being of service in a way that you're not kind of giving people just a portion of what they really need, which is, I believe, harmful. It's about really honoring where your client, your dream client is at, looking at the suffering and the pain they're in and mapping out a cohesive process that will allow them to get the transformation and the result that they really deeply want, that they're literally praying for right now. So I've been teaching this now for 7 years and I'm so deeply committed to ensuring that women really rise into their sense of financial power without the sacrifice, but also to develop programs and curriculums and intellectual property that allows them to create what I call a legacy brand, whereby you are able to build a foundation in your business that will allow you to teach this sacred work for 10, 20, 30 years plus, right? So you're not regurgitating or recreating the wheel. I'm really about building solid, incredible businesses where your clients are supported, you are supported, and it allows you to be doing this work for years to come without reinventing the wheel all the time. So we've really matured the brand over the years and it's just very exciting because our clients are doing incredibly well and I'm just thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. This week, we finally finished a new membership platform for one of my programs, Six Figure Diva. It's deep, it's so well thought out, it's so cohesive. So we're constantly reinvesting in the business and making sure that our quality of service is absolutely impeccable. So without any further ado, let me know if you have any questions coming, and I'm going to get into the story of today. So some of you would have heard my story about losing my company in New York. I had a clothing line. I lost it due to fraud, and it was a horrible position to be in. And if I sort of transport myself back to that emotion and feeling that was coming up for me, it was just devastating. And I had to come back to Australia and basically start off all over again and build this business. So if I look back now in hindsight and look at all the behaviors that allowed me to even get into that position, I really want you to think about that today, because you will never really heed the lesson and learn the lesson and ensure that you don't repeat it unless you take the time to process and assimilate and become really, really aware of the thoughts and the behaviors that even allowed it to happen for you. I was just speaking to a client of mine who's made about 500 grand over the last 4 or 5 months working with me, and we're talking about building her team. And I was talking about a vibrational alignment where this is the only reality that I expect to see in my life, which is one of what I call the gray state of ease. But when you have lower base frequencies and traumas from the past, and you are used to carrying, overworking, you're used to having a lot of drama in your life, it's like you've got an energetic tear within your frequency, and we allow in all this distortion. And at the end of the day, with absolute love and real, respect for you, any of the messes that we usually create in our lives, like what I just said, you've created it. We've created it through what I call unconscious incompetence usually. So we're not even aware that we're creating it. We're not even aware. But if we take the time to, with self-love and self-honoring of self, to be real with ourselves, on some level, we have allowed it in, because you're a creatrix. Everything that you're seeing in your life, you're the producer, the star, the writer of your own show. Okay. So if you look at your own sense of loss or something that happened to you that really devastated you, whether it's in business, in relationship, on any level, and you begin to sort of really tap in and say, how did I get to that place? And what were some of the beliefs that even allowed me to experience that? It's a really beautiful, important ritual to look at so that you can begin to have those aha moments and begin to course correct so that you don't do that again. So if I look back to when I was in that situation where this lawyer stole my corporate kit and then wrote out stock to himself, if I'm really honest with myself, and I have processed this deeply to ensure that it never happens again, I was in a very vulnerable, needy, codependent energy. So I'd raised this capital. I had a lot of pressure on me. I had a beautiful female pro bono lawyer from one of the largest law firms in New York, from Skadden Arps. She was not really available to me. She was so busy. She was doing it as a pro bono, so for free, which was wonderful to a degree, but I didn't really get the support that I needed, and that was really on me. And then I got this dude to come and work with me, and he even warned me and said, watch out for someone like me, Ingrid, who will try to steal their company from you. And then the universe gave me an exit clause because he went missing in action for about 3 or 4 weeks, and he was running for upstate. He was running for politics, to get a political seat upstate New York. And he even said to me, look, you can let me go. I haven't really honored you. And I said, oh, no, it's okay. Because deep down, I was in a fear-based level of consciousness. And when you're really in deep, deep fear, and I'm not talking about fear that mobilizes you to take very specific, definite, deliberate action and gets you out of your own way. I'm talking about fear that is codependent. Codependency in any relationship, whether it's a business relationship or in a personal relationship, is incredibly destructive. So I was like, if I looked at it and I'm really real, I didn't think I could do it on my own. And even though I knew on some level he was dodgy as fuck, I kept that relationship going and made a lot of excuses for him. And in the end, it was like a movie scene whereby I had to sit with him and this lawyer and basically give up my company because it was his word against mine that I had promised to give him over 50% stock. I kept saying to him, you have to give me the contract. Don't work for me until you give me a contract. And he would say things like, don't worry, Ingrid, I have to do all these contracts first. If I had to worry about you, there'd be a real problem But in my head, I was thinking, but I have to worry and concern myself about you. So the lesson there was I had to clean up my own side of the street and really come into my sovereign personal power and my full autonomy as a CEO, to really own my power and release my family drama and release my neediness and release my wounding, to really ensure that at the end of the day, if I feel that something is off, it is off, to trust myself. I'm highly intuitive, probably like you. Being highly intuitive and then distrusting yourself isn't really being empowered, right? Because there's so much distortion there. So I learned a lot out of that, and it taught me really how to become an incredibly resilient, and I'm going to go into that today about the importance of resiliency. As a woman, not only as an entrepreneur, definitely as an entrepreneur, but just being a woman, just living in this human existence, the quality of resilience and a resonance for riches combined is going to propel you forward like pretty much nothing else. So the internal inquiry for me, I really had to do that work before I began to build this business to ensure that I wouldn't make the same mistakes before. So I have a beautiful process, a very powerful process that I teach when I'm coaching called the GIFT process. So if you go away today and write down 4 key fuck ups or mistakes or perceived failures that you've had, things that have really devastated you personally and professionally, write them down. There might be more. Don't feel bad if there's more. There's a Buddhist saying about the slow horse. I don't know if you've heard of this before, but the slow horse sometimes is a person that gets knocked, and it's like you're a slow learner. But then the slow learner, which sometimes, like, I'm a very fast processor to a degree, but when I had all that karmic heavy trauma-based state, I felt very slow in my ability to sometimes process and assimilate information. And that's really a fight-flight response. So when I talk about, rewiring the mind and rewiring your frequency, you've always got to calm your central nervous system. So when I'm working with clients and really helping them make a lot more money more quickly, what I have to do is get the right and left brain working together in full congruence, because when someone's in a panic, fear-based state of consciousness, it's such a big level, they cannot process and assimilate information properly, okay? And we can't almost take it on because we're so stressed. So you want to calm everything down. You want to come into a beautiful, safe place, slow it all down, and do this work to really see the patterns of behavior, what you would perceive as a failure. You can write that all down on the left side, and on the right side, you want to put down what are the key things that you need to embody, or beliefs that you need to embody to ensure that that doesn't happen again. And then you want to basically learn and write down, well, what are the 5 golden lessons from that experience? So for example, I was needy and in fear-based consciousness, which allowed me to totally get ripped off, right? So in some way, I ripped myself off. So if I analyze it, the gift there is to learn that I am not dependent and beholden to anybody, and that I'm the fucking CEO of my life and my business. And when I see a shark or someone that is not good for me, to know it, own it, and move away swiftly, because I will always manifest instantly the person that I want in that highest level dimension when I release what isn't for me and focus on what is, and knowing very, very clearly what that looks like and feels like, and that I really deserve it. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You really deserve it. And I feel that when we've been caught up and we see a lot of drama and scarcity, and I'm not even talking about financial scarcity, just people constantly kind of in this sort of chaotic energy, you want to really disconnect from that and really come into deep divine goddess, priestess, femme, nourished reality and energy field, and sort of imagine all those cords and all that energy releasing from your field, and imagine a beautiful golden light just circling you. I even like to imagine like a beautiful like purple color just circling me in protection, that I am clear in my own field of energy, that I'm not taking on anyone else's distortion and making it my reality or making it my problem. I know exactly, the kind of experience that I want to have within my world. And that's why I don't often get affected anymore by people on the internet, by any naysayers, or I don't really, if I see other coaches, like I just saw another coach sort of complaining about the industry and talking about other coaches and all that stuff, I just don't really even, I can't even really process and assimilate that type of conversation, because I'm not really concerned about what everybody else is doing. I'm only concerned really about what I'm doing, or my clients, or the people that I'm employed to support and nurture, and my own family and my own energetic reality. Does that make sense? I think a lot of people get pulled into other people's kind of vortexes. So if you are going to want to align your energy with anyone else's reality, it's going to be a reality that you want to have, right? Like, so you witness someone and you go, I want that. So I'm going to begin to embody that frequency. And just being very mindful, if you've got a lot of drama going on, or a lot of loss, or constant struggle, you do need to do an energetic clearing to ensure that you're not taking on board all those other frequencies. Okay. So I learned how, after that devastating loss, how to really come into my power. And it's another representation of having something happen recently with us where we hired a company. So my beautiful divine Megan, who's sitting over there, was running my ad account, and we were really busy and we were doing really well. And I kind of wanted to free up some of her time to do other things in the business. And we decided to hire an external ad company. And they were very expensive, but that was fine. We were looking at the growth strategy of it and the return on investment. And we did something that actually, I just spoke to a really massive marketing dude about something. And I said, I would never, ever, ever, he's like a multi-8-figure, very famous man. And we're talking about it. He said, oh gosh, no one's ever asked us to do that before. And I said, yeah, because I laughed. I'm like, yeah, because it's fucking smart, because I learned the hard way. So basically what happened was we hired this company. It started off okay. And then they had this girl who was kind of decent, and then she went on holiday. And then within 2 weeks, everything began to crash. They began to double report. Like we spend quite a lot of money on advertising at this level. And so they were double reporting. They basically 4 times our ad expenditure. They fucked everything up. And by the time they came to a meeting with us after only 1 month, the scary part of it was we're having this meeting, and I literally the guys weren't even aware of what was going on. We could see someone in our ad account for 4 weeks and not really do anything. And basically they just obliterated our advertising accounts, okay? And were costing us 4 times or 5 times the amount of money, and all our calls dropped off. And it was just basically a diabolical mess that cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. Thankfully, I had some cash stores there, but you have to, no one really, unless you're a billionaire, can constantly for a long time without venture capitalists, without a lot of backing. You can't have $200,000 plus losses every single month and survive. So I had to go into, I sort of offhanded some of the management of this account and this new relationship to my team, and I had to go into full blown friggin' boss diva alignment, where I was like, everyone on my team, get out of my way. Let's sit down and have a meeting. We were sitting around a table, and someone on my team was like, oh, maybe we could get them to, we could fire them, or maybe we could get them to make the money back. And I was like, can you listen to yourself? Just with all due respect, listen to yourself. They've shown you exactly who they are. What? You're going to gamble with my money, my business, all the work and passion and energy that we put. And we're also fucking epic at marketing and advertising. And what? I'm going to throw it to these incompetent losers, basically, who the CEO ended up admitting it. I called him on the phone. I'm like, what the F's going on? He admitted it. It was completely just fraudulent and a total F up. So I was like, no. I mean, hear yourself. What? I'm going to lose another 200 grand? What? And then we're going to finally get the message? So I basically had to also say to my team, I remember the day, and I said, look, I'm going to speak very loudly. It's not because I'm angry with anyone or really blaming anyone, because I have to take full responsibility for this because I'm the CEO, but I'm going to speak really loudly because I need to hear myself think, because I've got all these other people's ideas. And Chris was trying to do, my husband, a sort of analysis on the friggin' whiteboard. And I was like, I can't even look at that. Like, the writing is on the wall. Fire them, get rid of them. Megan, who was sitting next to me, I'm like, go back upstairs, start running ad traffic. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing that. And that is the level of personal power, authority, direction, and leadership you need to have when you're running a business. Whether you're starting off from ground zero or you're running a multi-million-dollar business like I do, it is a level of power and authority. So that's why when people are coming to study with us and learn from us, and, you know, they're having all the journeys of ascension and everything, like, go fucking through it and, like, actually celebrate it. Because I have to tell you, you got to grow a backbone and you've got to be resilient as fuck if you want to survive. Honestly, you've got to develop such a deep level of personal truth and power and voice. Like, I talk a lot about visibility and voice and this and that, but voice within your own relationship with yourself. If you're looking at, you know, running a multi-million-dollar business, or even a $500,000 business, or 250K, my people are really starting to hire teams. If you don't know how to clearly articulate and communicate and set boundaries and set clear KPIs and performance measures and have check-ins, you will get swallowed up. So it's so important to take these experiences and grow and expand. People sometimes come to us and go, they're like at 50 fucking grand a year. They're like, I want $1 million in a year. Is it possible? Maybe. However, you've got to understand that you need to become a completely different type of leader. So it's not just about, you know, the ads and the messaging and the offers and the downsells and the way that you structure and your automated funnels and your evergreen system. It's a deep, deep level of this. I've been in the trenches within this myself for the last 6 to 7 years. And this level, it just keeps coming up today, of personal power. I talk about so much with my students about learning to communicate and express the outcomes of your offer and articulate your message and all of that. But then when we ground it even down, even a deeper level, in order for a woman to really run a highly successful company for the team behind the scenes, all of that is needed plus some. And it's a learning, it's a remembrance, it's a learning a completely different dialogue of personal authority and commanding that your team delivers, commanding that they honor their contracts of what they're here to do with their roles. Does that make sense, everybody? Is everyone getting it? It's a deeper level conversation where I want to talk real girl business, and that, you know, sometimes these experiences make me feel like I want to vomit. And that's why it's so, and I probably almost do, it's like, oh my God, you know, it's like was a slap and a stab in the heart, a stab in the back. There were breakdowns within the company. I even said to my husband, he listened to your dialogue. You said to me, we hired them and there were some downturns. And I'm like, well, when you're starting to go through a downturn after downturn, you're employing a company to make your life easier to see an uptick. So the minute you identify a downturn, number one, I should be notified. Number two, you should be looking at every single point. Number three, get those fucking people on a call. This was a $12,500 retainer. Get them on the call and pick it up and fucking look at the problem. Okay? And as a CEO, I can point a finger, I can train my team, I can whatever. At the end of the day, it all comes down to me. So through this experience, I am take no prisoners, incredibly deliberate, very specific. I've always been that, but I had to propel myself forward and rise into a deeper level of authority, and also this real honoring of how good we were actually doing it without them, 10 times better. I went to this company recently, this big guy, to talk about something, and I'm like, I will never, ever, ever allow anybody to take over my ad accounts ever again. And if I ever do something, I'll get you to run a separate account starting from zero. You don't have any way of manipulating or fucking with what I already have, and I'll test you out and see what you can do for me. And within 14 to 30 days, I'll decide then whether we continue working together. Let's see if you're really who you say that you are. But why would you take a whole, and they were like, oh my God, no one's ever said that. And by the way, you're getting such great results, we wouldn't really be able to take you any further. And I said, great. And let's look at some other ways we might be able to work together, right? And we are going to be working together on other areas. But it also allowed me to see how, what the level of excellence that we already have within our business, and that I really need to be that person leading the show. Okay, so lots of awareness there, lots of breakthroughs, lots of processing, and I really want to commend my own self. Like, it makes me feel emotional that if I hadn't taken charge and full authority in the way that I had, it would have been 10 times worse. And that came down to me. Nobody else in my team but me. That's why I'm the only person in the business that's irreplaceable. Me. Just like you are the only person that's irreplaceable in your business. So R is resilience. You want to also start with a resonance for riches, which is your vibrational set code, which if we want to go down into like its mindset, its energy, its behavior, it's everything. Whenever you've had a loss, and whenever I have people that come to me and they've had a loss, I say, sweetie, you can't build your business in a vibrational loss victim energy field. Like, oh, this has been done to me, this has happened. You've got to kind of look at the lesson, process the lesson, do your gift process, see all the gold out of that. And then you need to basically hit the refresh button with all the additional knowledge and awareness. And there you go. What am I creating now? So I'm doubling my business. I'm doubling my business now. What are you doing with your business? That's a vibrational set point reality. I'm no longer sitting in the vibration of this was done to me. We then needed to plan a 90-day recovery plan and hit all specific milestones to earn all of that money back, plus put us in profit, and to ensure that the systems were put in place that never, ever, ever happens again. And that's when I then did the 600 grand within about a 45-day period of time. Okay. And I did have to go into pretty heavy overdrive for that and take a lot of control. And now it's back into this really sort of beautiful flowing space. However, now I'm bringing in more experienced people to help me build the company, so that authority or that sense of ownership, like I always have to lead, but that I've got other higher level, more experienced, higher level talent coming in to help hold some of that responsibility for me. So it's resonance, it's resilience, and it's responsibility, and it's a reclamation of ownership of your CEO archetype, really at a very, very deep level. I is really all about intelligence. You can call it intuitive intelligence, to really honor your innate intelligence. So many women discount how talented they are, hence they don't have the authority. We go into a neediness position. We allow way too much sort of carrying, okay? So really bringing in your innate intelligence. If you want to tap into a higher level consciousness of your innate intelligence, and you want to begin to tap into your highest level frequency or highest level version of you, and do a bit of a ritual where you sit silently and you ask your higher self to give you the next clear steps or the biggest insights. I for insight, it's an insight, It might even be like there's a wound there. It might not even be strategic or strategy at this point. It might be a wound. And what's the insight and the intelligence that you need to have to overcome it? Is everyone feeling what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Oh, it was so terrible what I went through. So when people come to me, it was horrible. It was really devastating. And you put so much, I really wanted that relationship to work, and it's just can feel horrible. And so when people come to me, like I had this client come to me, Devashti, and she was struggling and she paid me the money to start working with me. And I'm like, girlfriend, do this, do this, do this, do this, and ditch the story about the loss and go into the service, go into the vision, go into your next future realm of consciousness. So if you want to shift your field of energy, you can't be operating from a past vibration unless it was juicy as fuck and you're like, I'll take that from my past. Do you know what I mean? You need to course correct. So the way that you come into the frequency of your next level and begin to embody that deeply is to, well, this is what I do and it works for me. I'm like, well, what do I want next? What do I want next? What is the next future realm? And what does that feel like? And that's what I begin to feel into. And I will say to creator of all that is and the divine of all that is that is the only thing that I am up for. That is the only thing that I'm available for, right? That's it. And so that's when I start, like people then come to me. So for example, a woman messaged me about 3 or 4 days ago and I'm hiring more people on my team. And this woman said, I saw you in a group and I got this innate hit to reach out to you. And she had this sort of caricature on her profile and I wasn't so sure, but I was like, sure, like if someone's bold enough, and I was like really in a energy of receptivity and receiving. Also very good, receiving. So I put out a clear intent of the type of people that I want to manifest to come into the business. I'm not talking about clients, by the way, that's a whole other story. Just my team and this lovely lady. And I'm like, cool, can you go and shoot a video for me? Can you tell me about yourself? What do you do? Where are you at? How can you serve my business? What can you do for me? So I was making a joke with my client. My new motto is like, I know what I can do for people. I know what I provide for my staff. I know what I provide for my clients. So when I'm hiring now, it's a new energy, which is something that I've not been great at. I try to be very generous to people. I don't do hierarchy or weird power plays. But now I'm looking for something more. So I'm also looking at hiring a new COO, and he's coming on Friday. And I said to Emily, someone else on my team, to go away, one of my head coaches, ask him to plan a presentation for me as well on what he can do to help me grow my business. So I want people to wow me. And the song is, the Janet Jackson song. Some of you might be very young. I'll play it for you in the group one day, but if you Google it, maybe on YouTube or something, Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately? And it's like, what have you done for me lately? Boom, 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 boom. So what I'm wanting to see is, well, I know what I can do for you, and here's what I can offer, whether it's, financial compensation, training, the energy, the group, the support, the love, all of that. And then I'm like, well, what do you have to really offer? And it might sound really basic. Maybe it's very basic to men. But for, I think a lot of women in business, we don't think this way. I certainly didn't. Maybe I was always just too inexperienced. I don't know. But I really, now I'm drilling down and making sure that people really have the cred and the integrity and the level of proactiveness and cleverness to really support me in the business. Otherwise, as a CEO, you are going to be so drained. Okay, because it goes back to like carrying. So here, this is all about, for me, about courage, the frequency of courage, which comes from heart. I can't even write courage. If I was doing a marketing talk, I'd talk about captivation, but courage. It's really about going, fuck this. I'm going to go into my heart space energy. I'm going to connect to my womb power, and I'm going to bring this forward. It's like a birthing ritual. It's like I have this courage, this strength, this resilience once again. H is really about honoring yourself, honoring your vision, and knowing where you're going. You will never, ever create a beautiful, streamlined existence and a streamlined growth plan in your business unless you really know the vision of where you're going and honoring that and honoring yourself and honoring your needs, both emotionally, financially, spiritually, and physically. You probably heard me talk about this, when I talk about money and finances, I'm talking about the whole ecosystem of riches. I'm not talking about just financial empowerment. Financial empowerment on its own, number one, usually doesn't work. It's a whole embodied consciousness of spiritual growth, emotional growth, physical, and also then the financial outcome. Okay, so whenever a woman is not honoring herself, she will be carrying and she will probably be in a state of some form of dis-ease. It may start off as an emotional jar, a bit of fight flight, a bit of a reaction, stress response. And that will happen time and time again. But the issue that we face so often is when we do this as our normal, where we're constantly in a pattern of overwhelm and anxiety. It's not okay. It leads to chronic illness. Okay? Been there, done that. Won't let it happen. And that's about I can also be around integrity, innate intelligence, integrity for self. You can never have integrity for others unless you start with the integrity for yourself. And so many soul empaths and myself, when I have done a lot of healing on myself, I could never really put integrity for myself in a sentence due to the way that I was brought up. It was all about, how do I take care of everybody else? How do I give to everybody else? I'm writing a book. It's almost done. I was working on it yesterday with a friend of mine who's helping me finish it off. And I was talking about that journey of really, I wanted to always be that pleaser for my parents. And I grew up in a lot of dysfunction. So I picked up that role of trying to make myself feel safe and trying to make it okay for everybody else, whilst really not being an integrity for myself. So when I've been doing the healing work that I've been doing over the years, putting that sentence together and really honoring integrity just for my own self, would you believe, literally freaked out my central nervous system. So the way that you move through that is either, in our courses, we have kinesiologists and healers, and just doing that really deep level of work. We do prayer, I do theta healing, I do all these beautiful divine invocations with that. But just even the awareness will begin to shift it for you. But just even sitting with yourself today and just asking yourself, what would integrity, really deep integrity for myself look like? It might be raising your prices. It might be fully embodying that at a deep level, being like, I'm not, because it's not just about the money. It's about the price that you pay energetically when you work yourself into the ground, right? So what would integrity look and feel like for me? What are some of the shifts I need to make? And are you ready, I ask you right now, to really honor your own self, honor your own health, honor your own energy field, right? Because when we do things that aren't in alignment with what we need and really truly want, that aren't in integrity, your health will suffer. Health. Honoring and health go hand in hand. So E is all about the energy and setting that intention for yourself. Like, what's the energy that you really want to bring forward? How does it feel going into that future realm of consciousness? And S is all about then later on the strategy, which is the systems. The systems, the strategy that you need to have in place. So whenever I'm planning my way forward, I have to sit with myself. So if I've had a big fuck up, looking at what I taught, which was the gift process, and then I'll go into real strategy, which is, okay, I want to reach X milestone, X milestone, X milestone. So it might be a 3-month milestone, it might be a 6-month milestone, and it might be a 12-month. Write them down. Plan the trajectory of your future reality. Write it down. The minute you write it down, it creates, like if you look at it from a quantum realm, it's like the energy field begins to coagulate to create the physical representation of what you put down. What you put down becomes an energy field. Then you begin to strategically plan it out. So, okay, this is my goal. So that might be, say, I don't know, might be 50K. So you're doing a 50K month or whatever. Private offers. Then here by this stage, you're launching your very first mastermind and you want to do a 150K launch. By this level, you're doing 500K because you're scaling the fuck out of that. And then you can begin to go, well, then what is step 1? What is step 2? What is step 3? And then you go, and then you know all these key steps and milestones. There might be some lack of knowing, and that's when you have support and get a coach and do all that. But then you chunk it down and then you begin to plan it out. You know that this is from July to September. This is October to December, for example. So you're launching in October here. What needs to be set up to launch is high ticket group situation. So you set yourself up for financial freedom so that you're not working so many times delivering. If you want to do private, that's fine. You can do a mixture and private and group together, no problem. And then by the 12-month period of time, we're looking at June, July, the following year. Where are we going to be? The 500K. What's that all about? What are the key steps to go from 150 to 500? And you chunk it down and you break up all the steps. So that's the strategy, okay? And I love strategy and I love breaking it all down and really planning it all. So when, before I got really grounded with my right and left brain, I wouldn't do proper planning like this. I didn't even have my first really great offer. And then of course I wasn't succeeding and I was sort of failing. And because if you look at the energy of it, it's very scattered. There's no real concrete plan, strategy, and offer. So now I'm hardcore. Like if I have conversations with people, it's like I've literally had to retrain my brain. Now, another reason why I have to retrain my brain is God bless my husband, who's amazing. But my husband's not a natural born entrepreneur. He's a tech geek. He's an engineer. He's very bright, very gifted in many, many levels, an amazing coach and teacher. But he's not that really specific, like a leadership entrepreneur type person. So I could be resentful of that, and sometimes I have been because I've had to work incredibly hard to become all these types of aspects of myself and retrain myself and really get very, very strategic and not just be the creative. Like I'm not just the creative, I'm not just the teacher, I'm the leader, I'm the visionary, I'm the financial controller, I'm all these things. And so if I look at that and that journey, I wouldn't be as good an entrepreneur if I wasn't in some way forced to really do this at a deep level and not rely on him to do all those things. So it's come at a certain cost to a degree for myself because it's been quite a big growth thing for me. But now I know how to teach it because I've really had to be, everything from the marketing, the coaching, the teaching, the hiring, the HR, the training my team. I know, and now I can hire people. I know what their job is and I know what I want to see. So both from a coach, a healer, a mystica, whatever you're doing, whatever niche you're in, we have to deliver an epic service there. And then when you're beginning to grow the business, you really can't take people to where you haven't been before. So whether it's the team, I've grown a business from zero all the way into a multi-million-dollar business. I know that landscape. That means I know how to teach it. I know how to pass it on. I know what I'm looking for. So that's the gift for me. Like I've become as serious as all F boss diva fucking like amazing. Like in terms of I feel great about that. I know I'm confident. I've weathered a million of these storms. And now I know how to turn it all around. So the level of mastery that you will get through the growth is like when you meet a client or someone and they're in the position that you were in, and you can see, okay, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, and this is the journey that you go on, right? So there's a lot to learn from our suffering. There's a lot of beauty in it as well. And the biggest thing that I've had to learn is to feel safe in it, to not freak out, and to always come back to the strategy and the solution. We often talk about when we're reaching a client, what the business that we're in is taking people from problem to solution or suffering to salvation or trauma to transformation. We're in the business of solving problems for others. But when you're a CEO, you've also got to be in that position for your own self and your own business and your own team. So I hope that I've been able to serve you today. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've gotten a lot of value out of it. If you want to speak to someone on my team, the way that we do our calls is we do an analysis type process. We're going to help innovate. Get this, we innovate and help brainstorm with you your next level, your next financial level, but also your offers. So we look at what you're currently, whether it's your gifts and you don't know what to package up, or you're already selling high ticket and you want to monetize the bejesus out of it and like work like 10 times or half the amount of time and you want to triple your income. We're going to help innovate. So we never ask for a sale unless, number one, we get permission, and number two, we always give before we get. So if you want us to help you innovate your offer and really look at the strategy of your business, both energetically and financially, and like on the marketing level as well, the strategy behind it all, then you absolutely want to book in a call. The booking call system is ingridarna.com//chat. I think Megan's probably put it up in the link. So absolutely do that. And if you have any questions or anything, is there any questions?
Yeah,
There's a few.
Just asked a question. She's in Six Figure Deep at the moment. She said, how do you keep the soul flow in the business if you're going into the pre-planning of content?
How do you keep the soul flow in the business if you're going into the pre-planning of the content?
Yes.
So when you're saying the soul flow, do you mean how you're operating? Because for me, like planning content is really fun. Like I love planning content. I love connecting with my audience. I love being generous and giving away a lot. Like I love that. So it's always coming from soul. Like I'm not disconnected from my soul. Like it is soul. Everything about it is this beautiful embodied soulfulness. So Alison, I can reach out to you after this and see what you're really meaning. But maybe you're talking a little bit about the overwhelm, or you might feel like you've got a lot on your plate. So is that something like you feel like you've got a lot going on? Like there's a lot to learn. You got to plan content. You're getting your offers ready. You're getting maybe your marketing strategy ready.
She hasn't replied, but we can reach out.
Okay, so I think that just with that too, when you've got a lot going on, and if you ever feel like you're not in a state of soul juicy flow, take some time out, ground your energy, get into nature, go and watch a fun movie or go and have a beautiful meal. And then the way that I get a lot done with a lot of energy is I'm always thinking of like the response and like people really happy to get my content, and then I plan it out and then I compartmentalize my week. So say you want to map out a new webinar, you've got to plan all these plan all your slides and the content and your opt-in page and all of that. You might want to go, okay, I want that done within 8 days, and I'm going to spend 4 hours over the next 8 days planning that. I'm going to have a rough draft done. I'm going to take that to class. I'm going to get a review. And by July 15, I'm going to be running the first live event. And then I chunk it down with very specific milestones, and then I make sure that I get help, and then I might do a draft 2 and a draft 3, do it live, and then you're going to go back and you're going to rework it probably until you get ready to go to automation. And you just look at your week, like how many clients do you currently have, what's going on with your personal life, what do you need in terms of taking time every morning to get exercise and all those sorts of things. So I really sit down, and if I'm ever in overwhelm, it means that I haven't planned out my world enough. So for example, you've probably all heard that I had a hysterectomy and this and that, and then I felt that, I just went with all the recovery, and I had to do a lot of rehab stuff, and then I thought, like, this is ridiculous. I really want to do Pilates. I don't want to do group. I want to do private. I'm going to invest some time and money into this. And I found a great Pilates dude. I called around a couple of studios, and then they're my non-negotiable times, whether it's going for a hike, whether it's going to Pilates, and then being very, very specific around the type of teacher that I want. I have an incredible Chilean man who's really beautiful. He's got 25 years of experience. He's very specific with me. And making sure I have all of that. Usually if you're overwhelmed, there's a lack of like sort of nourishment and pleasure. And also you want to make sure that you do ask for help and that you receive the help and that you set yourself up and that you are coachable. That if someone gives you feedback and tells you what to do, that was my phone, watch phone, that you implement it quickly and you keep going. You allow it to be a gentle, beautiful, juicy, easy process. Is there another question?
Angel asked what she can do to prepare to work with you and the team. She's manifesting the money and starting out in her business.
Okay, so Angel's starting out. She wants to know what to do to manifest the money. So you can either do a few things. Number one, you want to think about, well, how much money is it? And then know the amount of money that you want. So we also have payment plans. So you might decide, okay, I'm going to do a payment plan. I'm going to get whatever it is, $3,000 together. Or I want to get the pay in full. I'm either going to speak to someone, a friend, a family member, and say I can start paying them back a certain amount of time. You want to also start reaching out to people, thinking about maybe an offer that you can sell at the get-go, and sort of starting to get yourself into, like, set up a group, set up a free group, start doing video there, start inviting people to calls, start actually doing some of the things that you think that you might need to do in order to grow your business. If you're really financially strapped like that, you want to look at, like, I'm not telling people to go and put it necessarily on a credit card or sell their car, like a woman who joined us recently just did. She just booked 7 sales calls. She's already brought in an extra like $25,000 or $30,000. I've never told anybody to do that. She did that for herself. Like, it just depends on how resilient you are, your financial situation, where you're living, how you're living around getting the money together. But when I lost all that money and I came home from New York and I wanted to do a nutrition course, it was like $4,000. And I was lucky enough to ask around and some people helped me and I lent the money and paid them back and I got that money. So sometimes you have to eat some humble pie and ask for support. So I hope that's helped a bit. But yeah, really beginning to market. We've got a lot of cheaper product as well. We've got a $47 3-hour workshop called the Six Figure Diva Workshop that you can start to learn all the key aspects of packaging and positioning. We've also got the Client Magnet, which is a really great training that I did, $1 Million Client Magnet. That's free. We can get that to you. But the URL, the domain name for that is ingridarna.com/magnet. That was going to help you a lot. We've got a free meditation that we've got that Megan can put up for you. Start listening to the meditation, start amplifying your energy. People absolutely love that. And yeah, I hope that's helped. Let's get your energy, your frequency, start thinking about, well, what offer can I create? What's the name of it? What's the tagline? What am I going to offer? What's the price point? And start creating your own offer and start getting out there. But the Six Figure workshop that we have, Six Figure Diva Workshop, is this like,
I don't know if we're necessarily offering that right now.
we don't usually offer it, but I don't mind selling it. So if anyone wants it,
It's
part of our funnel.
yeah, part of the $7 Rich Goddess activation.
But we can get it for them. So if anyone really wants that, let us know and we'll get you a place to absolutely purchase that. If you haven't bought Rich Goddess Activation yet, which is a $7 product that we have, definitely look at that. People are loving that. And when you go into that funnel, it's $7 and there's an upsell to it's called 7 Figure Money Map, which is $11 or something to grow your Facebook group. And then there's an upsell to a $47 product, which is a 6-figure workshop. But we should be able to get you access to getting that directly. And that's about it. I hope I've been able to serve you guys. So thank you so much for joining today. If there's something that wasn't answered, just tag me and I'll come back to that question or PM you with an answer, or someone on my team. And remember, you can turn any loss into absolute gold as long as you bring the vibration of riches and all that stuff that I'm talking about into the equation. I honestly believe that you can turn everything around incredibly quickly when you're really open to that idea and that concept. So I've seen people's businesses change dramatically in 7 days, 8 weeks. Like, I'm talking massive financial expansion. And some people think, oh my God, it can't be real. It is real. It happens all the time. I've been doing it for 6 years. I probably have served now over 2,000 women, not including my cheaper products, 2,000 women with my high ticket deep dive offers. I've got women who've barely been able to sell $100 sessions, selling out their $13,000 teacher trainings, $25,000 teacher trainings. I've had women in Six Figure Diva this week sell their first 5Ks. I've had two women this week. I think one woman did 12K in 2 weeks. Natalie, another woman, Michelle, had her first 10K week. And these are people who are starting from pretty much the beginning. They're coaches, they're healers, they've still been selling one-on-one time. Some of them they're in full-time work whilst building their business on the side. And I just think they're incredible. I adore them. I'm proud of them. They're doing it, So I'm sending you so much love. Have a beautiful divine day, and I will see you soon. I'm sending you so much love, a million divine blessings. Mwah. So gorgeous. If you've been listening and you're ready to grow your booming, beautiful online business, or you're ready to take your current business into a whole other divine, juicy stratosphere, schedule a call with one of my strategists. We're going to map out a 4-part plan to radically grow your revenue and your impact with authenticity, grace, and proven strategy. I cannot wait to explore how we can make magic together. So apply for your complimentary strategy call now at ceodivachat.com.